Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Bengaluru, India. This is the Fiba Women's Asia Cup 2019 Group A game between Japan and Korea. The winner will finish first place and go straight to the semifinals, and the loser will go to the qualification for the semifinals. And all bets are off, folks. I mean, after the thriller that we just watched between China and Australia, China winning it, a thriller by a single point. To go straight to the semifinals, who knows? I mean, this is just turning out to be a special arena. But for some of the games that we've watched, the last two FIBA Women's Asia Cups, I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Mark Mills and Mr. Mills. Korea and Japan, you think immediately Japan, but Korea, you know, if they get hot, who knows? We'll watch this game, then we'll watch Chinese Taipei against India, and those other two games. You see New Zealand getting to the qualification for the semifinals with that win over the Philippines earlier today. Here are the standings in Group A. You've got Japan and Korea up top at 2-0 each, and Chinese Taipei and India, they'll do battle after this game at 0-2. But I don't know, all bets are off, really. I mean, maybe Korea can come out and put in a stunning performance. Yeah,
they're going to need to. Let's be clear. Japan have been impressive from the opening tip on day one. You know, they've put in some great performances and they have been really impressive. But for Korea, there are opportunities there to cause the upset. You know, we saw China, maybe not as big an upset, but in the previous game cause an upset against Australia. They defied the rankings, and Korea will look to do the same now. But you're right, Korea are going to need to string together a strong 40 minutes of basketball. They can't just have a flash 10 minutes here and there. They're going to have to be on form, both defensively and offensively, for 40 minutes strong now.
Yeah, one thing that we've seen from Korea is they haven't started great, have they? And it's taken them a while to get into any flow, and this is easily the toughest game that they're going to have thus far. I mean, the Chinese Taipei came out and they gave them a tough time. It was an awkward game for them, but in terms of the quality of the opponent, Japan are just at a different level to most teams, and they're the three-time defending champions. But Korea, as we've seen, you know, we've seen Yum Ya come out, we've seen Kang, we've seen some wonderful players. We saw Park, Hey Jin, you know, catch fire the other day. Kim has just come out, so Park, Ji-hun as well, the youngster, the 19-year-old. This is a good team.
Yeah, it is. Plenty of talent. And the only concern I have about the Korean side is just their perimeter shooting. 19.2% from threes. It's likely they're going to have to improve on that today if they're going to get a win. They're not going to get all of their points in the paint against a team as powerful as Japan. The one thing Korea do really well, though, is they protect the ball. They're only averaging 13 turnovers a game. And in this kind of game, you do have to make sure you treasure possession.
So Japan now being introduced to the crowd. Nagaoka and Maki Takada, as well as Ramatoka Shiki, and Rui Mashita. It's just a fun team to watch. I mean, you know, you enjoy it. So many different aspects of the way that they play. My favorite, in fact, even with Manami Fujioka unable to play this year because of injury, is I love it when they go quickly, rebound, run, transition. Rui Mashita gets the ball in midcourt and then makes that terrific bounce pass, diagonal bounce pass to somebody for the layup. I mean, it's fantastic basketball.
Yeah, it's almost like a training drill, a real joy to watch.
Tom Hovas gives the bow, the courtesy bow. So now we're going to have the playing of the national anthems for both Korea and Japan. So we'll have a pause in the commentary.
please remain standing for the national anthem of Team Japan.
Always a nice, calm, soothing national anthem from Japan every time you hear it. So nice moment really hearing both Korea's and Japan's national anthems. And we'll get a look at the referees for today's game. See a New Zealander out there, Ryan Tristan Jones on the left. Wacharan Parun Gracha Kit from Thailand and Budi Marfan from India on the right. Say that Thai name.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
10 times in a row.
Yeah. Yeah, with a glass of water in your mouth. No.
It's really interesting. I mean, you don't know from one game to the next for this Korea team who's going to be the player that steps up. It's a roster that coach goes probably comfortably, I would say, 9 deep.
Yeah, it really is. There's so much talent in that roster, and different players are stepping up in different games. You know, you had Jin against India scoring 21 points, but overall, I think the one that really has impressed me is Bae Hae-yoon. 11.5 points, 7.5 rebounds, 5 assists, just pretty much covering the entire box score.
Oh, Shen Ji-hoon. Ji-hoon is going to start tonight along with Park Ji-hoon, Bae Hae-yoon. So some shake-up there in the lineup for Korea.
Yeah, and you wonder if that's in response to playing Japan. Maybe there's a different style of game they want to play, a different tempo or a different focus offensively that they want to look at.
Coach Monkyu there looking over at the Japanese bench. Yeah, it could be. Maybe he liked what he saw late in the game yesterday from Shin Ji-hoon coming in, and for Japan.
Yeah, again, some real household names in the Japanese roster. It's hard to look past the likes of Tokashiki and Takada. You know, 14.5 points, 9 rebounds for Tokashiki, 10.5 points, 6.5 rebounds for Takada. But Miyazawa yesterday with 15 points and 8 rebounds. It was the first game she played yesterday. Very impressive.
And she's in the starting lineup along with Akaho, who was great on the opening night, along with Rui Mashida, Tokashiki, and Takada.
지현이가 여기서 어디로 간다고?
오른쪽으로. 네.
네 왼쪽으로 간다고. 네 왼쪽 손 있는 쪽으로 간다고.
네.
어? 서서 이쪽을 보고 있고 여기 누구 있어?
Lee
태훈이가 여기 있잖아.
is the coach.
일로 가라는 얘기야. 알았지? 니네 둘이 여기
I would
자리 잡아.
suggest that his patience has been tested in this tournament because of the struggles
급하게 하지 말고 첫 스타트를
of Korea on
잘해.
offense, especially.
오케이?
And Tom Hovas putting Japan through their final paces. Final instructions. So Tom Hovas led Japan to the title 2 years ago. He had coached them at the Olympics. Is that right? In Rio? I'm trying to remember now. He coached them at the World Cup. So here he is, coached them at the World Cup last year, where they had high expectations but lost to China in their qualification game for the quarterfinals. So that was a bit of a disappointment, but they've won 3 consecutive FIBA Asia Women Cups. They are the team to beat. Make no mistake about it, but having just watched Australia and China square off in a true classic, probably one of the all-time great games in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup, who knows? Well, good late afternoon here from Bengaluru, India. It's Japan in white taking on Korea in the dark blue. The battle for first place in Group A. And an air ball from Takashiki starts things off, but Japan will retain possession as it goes off Jin. And I'm not surprised that Jin's starting tonight because she played so well, number 31, yesterday.
Yeah, had a phenomenal game. 21 points, 9 rebounds, 2 steals, and seemed to also have a knack of turning up at exactly the right time in that game as well. You know, when India put on a good run, she seemed to step in the way.
Takada. Well, you know, Takada's going to be involved. She's been good in both games for Japan. Park. Oh, boy, the 19-year-old just continues to thrill. You're looking at one of the real rising stars of Asian basketball.
Yeah, really excited to see where the exact ceiling is of her game. You have a feeling it's a very high ceiling indeed.
Takada again just takes over, goes right at Ku, who has played well in the tournament as well, but maybe a bit of a surprise to be in the starting 5. There's no doubt that Lee Moon-kyu hasn't found the rotation yet. He's still searching for it. Now Park Ji-hun travels, turns it over.
Yeah, no, he's certainly not settled on a rotation that he wants to work for. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. You know, sometimes players like a bit of consistency and know how many minutes they're going to get at what stages of the game they're coming in, so what the expectations are. But then sometimes I agree, it's nice to be flexible, to have your roster ready to do what you need them to do and step out, maybe a little bit out of their comfort zone.
But also, it could be, like you said, could be he feels like this is a better matchup, these players against Japan. Miyazawa, well, picks up right where she left off yesterday. Park Ji-hun. Now, Ku. Park Ji-hun launches it from deep. I wouldn't say that's her strength.
Too early in the shot clock as well, really.
Takada. Good box out by Bay on Takashiki. Now Shin. And the ball thrown at Ku's feet, and it goes out of bounds.
And the tempo that Japan are playing at from this opening tip, you just get that feeling they'd like to secure first spot in this group almost by half-time. They're playing with intensity on both ends, which at the moment is stifling Korea.
A little dump to Rui Machida. She takes it back outside. Now Miyazawa. Takada just fills up the stat sheet, doesn't she? Another rebound for her. Kaho misses. But Miyazawa again has it. That's the worry early on for Korea, is Japan's ability to get second and third opportunities each trip down the floor.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what Coach Lee Mon-kyu has got. He must have a game plan in mind of how he's going to lock down these boards, because at the moment, Japan are grabbing any rebound they want.
Miyazawa misses. Akaho, another chance. And Takashiki this time. And again, I think they had probably 4 attempts at the basket that time.
Yeah, I think the only solution, the only solution for Korea on their current 5 would maybe to drop into some form of zone and block up the paint a little bit. The issue you have with doing that is Japan are one of the better 3-point shooting teams here at the Asia Cup.
Sin fell down. Was able to get back up. Now the desperation 3. And Japan get the stop. Good defense by Akahu out on the perimeter on Ku. Takashiki is...
Yeah, she has that range, but you saw in her form, she just pulled at it. You saw her pull her hand back at the end. It wasn't a natural, smooth, flowing form, and it was always going to fall short from that.
Sin, oh, they left her, and then she missed the layup.
She did all the hard work. She did absolutely everything right. And just the finish letting her down, and can't afford to miss those gimme opportunities against Japan.
Nope, so the 24-year-old Sin's going to go out. And now Kang is going to come into the game, the normal starter, along with Park Hae-jin, also had started previously the 2 games, number 7. I think Kim Min-jeong has come in. So a more veteran team out there now for Korea.
Yeah, I like it a little bit more on the rebounding side of things as well. I think there's a bit more hustle for the boards out there.
Tough shot for Jin.
Not the right shot when you've still got 7 seconds left on the shot clock. Still plenty of time for them to have worked something more.
Pass to Takada and fouled by Jin.
And this is the situation Jin will find today compared to yesterday. She's going up against people that are just as strong as her, have just as if not more upper body strength, and Takada is just almost immovable when she's in air.
So Korea call timeout and try to stop the bleeding. They are trailing 11-2.
스크린하면 이렇게 가면 여기서 이렇게 나가서 잡지 말라 그러잖아 내가. 커팅하라 그랬지. 다 마찬가지야. 여기서 이 사람 패스 줬어. 그 스크린 가야지 이렇게 커팅하라고 나오라고 그랬잖아 이렇게. 왜 다른 짓을 해?
네.
그래 왜 유주볼을 못 챙기는 거야 나.
네.
今9番がすごい外伝やってる。だから隣の選手がちょっとギャップオフにして。Okay? ひまわりが今3番やってるから、9番いるかどうか交代したかもしれない。わかんないけど、9番いたらもう。9番じゃなくて何番だっけ？9番。
今は自分のところの外捨てられてんだよね今。だから今までが
アタックしてトランジション。最初のハーフオフェンスはスペイン。Back spin. Inside.
Would you like to have a bag of ice on your back right now?
No, I can't say I would. It's not going to be the most relaxing thing in the world. I understand it's the quickest way to lower your body temperature, but...
All smiles for China, who are watching this game. Look, oh, now they see they're on TV. Oh, it's us. Look, we just won a big game. Liu on the right and Hanju on the left. And I think that was Wang as well.
Yeah, the big names from China are staying around to watch the game, and great to see them enjoy the outside of the cup. The thing is, they can now. They've got tomorrow off. They've got the day off. Not that I suggest that their coaching staff are ever going to give them that day off. They'll be in the gym working, no doubt.
It'll certainly be a happier night's sleep for them than it would have been otherwise, that's for sure. Korea desperate for points. Trailing 12-2. Park Hae-jin has her ball batted by Rui Machida, and Japan wastes no time getting into transition. Takashiki unstoppable. Boy, Japan showing signs of delivering an early knockout punch here in the first quarter.
Yeah, like I said, you just feel like they're trying to get this game over and done with as early possible, giving Korea no chance of taking that top spot away from them.
Well, let's don't forget that yesterday Japan started very well, very fast against Chinese Taipei, and then Chinese Taipei came back to take the lead at halftime.
Yeah, they did. They did. We were even having conversations. Well, what about if Japan actually lost this game? You know, we had serious conversation about that, and then the real Japanese team turned up in the second half and just dominated.
Well, Korea gone to a zone, and here it is. Should have forced a turnover, but Takada just would not allow it. And the ball goes off the hands of Motokawa.
And I like that from Korea. I like dropping into a zone. I'm surprised it didn't start with a zone, if I'm honest. It caused Japan no end of problems yesterday against Chinese Taipei. So I thought they would have potentially started in a zone and you know, seen if Japan can beat it, because they struggled to beat it yesterday.
Park open, and why not? She's going to take it. Probably, again, the one aspect of her game that she's got to do some work on. She's got plenty of time to do it, and good defense. Korea forcing Japan a couple times into near turnovers, but Japan get it back, and Kaho punishes them with the layup, and she will go to the line.
Yeah, and it's not the first time Kaho has punished people in this tournament. She was a little bit quiet yesterday, but she had an absolute storming first game against India with 23 points and really showed why she's one of the exciting stars of the future for Japan. And not just the future, really. She's one of the stars for this Asia Cup.
Well, does not make the free throw, but nevertheless, that basket pushes the lead to 14. Here's Park, the player they really need to get on track. And again, Takada, I'll tell you, they just get it down the court so quickly.
Yeah, it's almost like a fluid, isn't it? It's just so quick and so smooth. There's no hesitations, no joltiness to it at all.
Oh. And even when Korea have the cut to the basket, they get tripped up and go down. So, watch this. I think it was Takada that she tripped over. Look at, that's where Mashida's just not going to fail. She's going to find the player on the end of the pass that is going to get the layup.
And the thing you've got is her teammates know that. And to have that confidence, if you're a big or even an off-ball guard, to have that confidence in your point guard that you kind of know, if I run the right lane, she's going to find me. It really makes you run the right lanes. And that's what makes it such a beautiful transition offense from Japan. That they all trust each other, they all have a real common understanding of what structure they're going to run on the transition.
Well, despite having two players on her, on Takashiki, Bay picks up a foul. Watch this, pushing her out, a little collision there.
And I understand that, because the last thing you want to do is let Takashiki establish herself in the paint and then let her receive the ball, because that's 2 points. There's no other end to that. You do have to give her a little bump, edge her out, get an arm bar on her and start easing her out of the paint, because then at least you've got a chance when she puts the ball on the floor to try and strip it away.
So Jin back in for Korea. It is a mountain to climb already for Korea, down 20-4. Park missed the open jumper, missed everything. Kaho off the rim. Takashiki knocks it back out for another opportunity. And Takada gets back. How many times are we going to see Japan make layups and get fouled? Yeah, go to the line.
And it's all, you know, the offensive rebounds now. 7 offensive rebounds to Japan, and we've only had, you know, 7.5 minutes of the game, and If it carries on that rate, they'll end up with 40 offensive rebounds by the end of the game, which would just be unbelievable. I'm just sitting here thinking, you know, the other group potentially a lot of people may have seen as a more difficult group, and you kind of wonder, is it a good thing to have the easier group, or would you have rather had that real stern test that Australia and China have just had?
It's a great point. Now Bay. Well, we thought coming into this that Korea would be the team that would not win this game and would lose to face New Zealand.
Yeah.
Because New Zealand had finished third in the other group.
Yeah.
We weren't sure about China, Australia. I think we were thinking that Australia might win that one, but so that means Australia, I think, is going to face Chinese Taipei.
Yeah.
If Chinese Taipei beat India.
Yeah, if it goes to the form book in the last game of today, then yeah, that would be the kind of qualification game for the semi-finals for them.
Oh, finally a defensive play for Korea, but they still get it back. I mean, how many times Motohashi has her shot blocked and still Japan keep the ball? Hayashi missed. Another chance for Korea. Trailing by 17 points. Tough shot. Takada gets it, hands it off to Takashiki. They are running like a well-oiled machine right now, and the lead just keeps getting bigger and bigger. 24-5. Japan on top of Korea. The execution really is something to marvel at. Now, Kang. And it triggers another break. Three-pointer, Takada, and even when Korea should rebound it, they hit it out of bounds.
And yeah, the way that Japan are executing is absolutely phenomenal. And we obviously spoke to Coach Hovas before the start of the tournament, and the way that he was so humble about it, saying, you know we don't have the talent that the other teams have, so we have to work harder, we have to be fitter, we have to be doing everything better than everyone else. And that humility has led to Japan not only having a ridiculously talented team, but a team that works so hard constantly.
Zawa misses. Korea's got to score, and they've had their offensive struggles in the tournament. And the drive in the left hand still can't get it to go. Somebody needs to make a shot. Kang for three. Rims out. And that's how the first quarter finishes. It has been a horror show for Korea. And it's been a fun basketball game for the Japanese. They are in command 24-5 over Korea.
So yeah, an interesting first quarter in this game between Japan and Korea. And I'll be honest, if I'm Korea, I'm not overly upset. 24 points, giving that up, it's not great, but due to giving away 10 offensive rebounds in that first quarter, you could have been punished an awful lot more. Only 8 second chance points off those 10 offensive rebounds for Japan, but it's the offensive end for Korea. 5 points in a quarter, just absolutely terrifying, you know, shooting 7% from the field. They've hit 1 field goal in that first 10 minutes of play. scary.
You trailed 19 points at the end of the first quarter, and I mean, they're ruthless, Japan, and you just don't know if there's any way back for this Korean team.
No, it's tough. It's tough. I think the adjustment that they've made on the defensive end is right. So swapping up to a zone and saying, okay, we're going to give you a little bit more of an open shot on the outside, but we're hopefully going to lock down the paint and contest you a bit more inside is the right thing to do. But that's not the end they need to worry about. They need a plan in place on how to break down what is a really efficient, effective Japanese defense, because no matter who they seem to bring onto the floor, no matter how they rotate, they're all on the same game plan. They're all on the same page defensively, and there's no let off.
Second quarter underway, the Fiba Women's Asia Cup. Korea against Japan. Japan in command. 19-point lead here at the start of the second quarter, and Jin catches it quickly and puts it up. Well, that kind of stopped the rot. The question is, can they maintain it? It's a long way back. Bay. And kept her hands up, so far so good for Korea. Kang brings a little bit of rain. Uzawa has it taken away from behind by Koo. Korea playing a little bit faster, trying to give Japan a little bit of their own medicine. Little spin move. Whoa. Nice spin from Shin.
Good help back on the defensive end, and Korea doing well on both ends to start this second quarter. They needed to, otherwise this was going to get out to a huge lead for Japan very quickly. So good to see Korea have kind of hit the reset button in that break, and hopefully their offense for them can start firing.
Tom Hovass, you might have seen him. He's really talking to the ref, saying, listen, my player had her hands up. There was no foul there. But often what happens is you see the attacking player rewarded, putting pressure on the defense. One of two. Tokishiki from the right. That was a two.
And that's what makes her one of the best players here at this Asia Cup. Just the complete range of offensive threats she has.
Three-pointer is the answer from Koo. So Koo Sul in Korea is showing signs of life.
She seems to do it every time she comes onto the floor. Koo's been the answer to a lot of the questions that Korea have been asked.
Ooh, Mashida. And still an offensive rebound. This time a foul called on Koo. Three-point attempt. Kang again battles Nagaoka, trying to box her out, and Kang called for a foul.
Yeah, Nagaoka just a little bit quicker to react to where the rebound was going, and Kang realized it was coming close to her. The temptation was too much, so she just grabbed hold of Nagaoka. But a better start to this second quarter from Korea. They scored more points in this second quarter than they scored in the entire first quarter, so they'll be happy that things are changing.
Nagaoka from deep.
It's just a little bit of a heartbreak if you're Korea. You're putting so much into trying to get back into this game, and see Nagaoka throwing that big three.
Jin, wow. And Korea just night and day from how they started this game. And now they come up with a steal. Bay in the open floor. Thought about making the pass to Kang. Still a 16-point lead. Bay feeling Takashiki, and Takashiki called for the foul.
No, I like that. That's the right call. Takashiki's trying to play defense with her knee, and you can't do it. You'll see it here.
Yeah, you're right.
She just puts her leg across her and tries to shepherd her away from the basket. And Bay does exactly the right thing. She almost exaggerates even further towards the basket to drag Takashiki's knee in even further.
Takashiki thought she was coming out.
Well, she's on 2 personal fouls now, so I'm not surprised she thought she was.
Yeah, but Takada is at the table. Here she comes.
Yeah, I don't think you can make a substitution in between the 2 free throws. That's why Takada was having to wait.
Whoa. And a rare mistake there. Mashida throwing it over to Miyazawa out of her range. Kusu puts it up from deep. And then follows it up and gets it. Good extra effort there by Park Hae-jin. Hitting the ball over to Ku, who ran in, so it gets it back to a 12-point deficit. Miyazawa in and out. And incredibly, a basket here will get it to 10, if not 9 points, if it's a three-pointer.
Yeah, and again, what they've done is lock down their defensive boards. Only 1 offensive rebound in this second quarter for Japan. They had 10 in the first quarter.
Jin, tough break, looked like it was going down. That time the ball goes off of Takada's hands, trying to throw it over the defense.
Very similar kind of flow to the game almost to yesterday's game for Japan when they played Chinese Taipei. They got out early and then they got themselves pegged back into the game, you know, a scrappy Chinese Taipei were able to bring themselves back in, and you feel Korea maybe not fit that scrappy title. They have maybe a little bit more silk and smooth about their offense now, but they're definitely fighting their way into this one.
Yeah, don't forget, these two teams have faced each other so many times over the years. Ball batted out of bounds. So there won't be a fear factor at all for Korea and Japan. They certainly looked a bit stunned at the start of the at the end of the first quarter when they trailed 24-5, but that just shows the magnitude of their comeback already. They've outscored them 12-4. So the signs of the recovery are there for Korea. Akaho gets in the paint and draws the foul.
Nakaho was relatively quiet yesterday. We were expecting another big blowout game because she was so impressive in that first game. 23 points in that first game against India. It's definitely had a bit of a quieter time of things yesterday. Only 9 points to a name, but you know, she's 21 years old, still so much ahead of her, and you have a feeling that she's going to develop across this tournament and could play a really influential role in those later stage games if Japan make it through.
So that's 2 fouls on Jin, who goes to the bench. And Korea got into the lane too early, which means Akaho will attempt another free throw.
They're probably grateful for that call in the end because Japan had just grabbed themselves another offensive rebound.
And Akaho takes advantage, makes the second. Park Ji-hun probes the defense. And Kusel off target, and Park Hee-jun chased it into the right corner, but wasn't going to beat Sane Motokawa. Big trip down the floor here for both teams as Korea again commit a foul. The foul's on Koo, the reach. Takada has it knocked out of her hands. They get it, they rotate it. Motohashi, oh, that's a killer.
Yeah, it really is. They've worked so hard to get back into this game, and big shot from Motohashi at the top. She's not done well from outside so far. 20% from the perimeter prior to today's game, but it's about the timing of the shots as much as the number of shots that you make.
Yep, some hurt worse than others. Kim, however, answers. Kim Min-jong. Nagaoka, air ball that time. Bay puts it up off the glass. Now Takada. Motohashi, her bounce pass. Oh, looked like they were going to steal it. Takada just gets it back. And they pay the price with Motokawa driving in for the layup.
I feel sorry slightly for Kim Min-jong there. I personally think that was an offensive foul. I don't think Takada set the screen at the top at all. She was just walking around in circles, guiding Kim wherever she wanted to.
Oh, driving in was Kim. It had it blocked. Look at Nagaoka hustle down the floor and get it before it goes out of bounds. And then she finds her teammate, Akaho. That's just down to pure hustle.
Yeah, it is. It is real hustle, and Akaho can smell the points. She's one of those players that she knows when there's some points to be notched up, and she'll find them. But for Korea, it's a lack of hustle. You can't be beaten down the floor when you're playing defense.
They're back to 18 points to lead. Remember, they led by 19 at the end of one. So Japan looking imperious once again and forcing Korea to call a timeout with 2:13 remaining here in the first half.
내가 쓰지 말라는 자리 이런 데 아니니 이렇게? 어? 여기서 이렇게 하는데? 이거 해봐야 이 사람 수비 있고 이거 해봐야 아무 소용 없잖아. 이렇게 올라와줘서 내가 가고 이렇게 와야지. 패스 주고 스크린 가든지 핸드오프를 하든지. 어?
네.
이런 좀 반대편에 있는 사람 이렇게 크게 서야 될 거 아니야. 이렇게 여기서 하고 있으면 이렇게 들어가서 나오면 여기서 볼 잡고. 알아들었어?
네.
이걸 왜 여기서 서가지고 이 사람을 아무것도 이쪽에 방향을 못 가지고 가게.
네. 저는 엔드램 9초예요. 지금.
무슨 얘기인지 알겠어?
네.
Let's go.
네.
자, 이제 찡 화려.
한타! Yes!
Let's go, let's go.
Korea will be pleased with their second quarter performance. It's been much better than the first, but they'll also be slightly frustrated because they did have Japan slightly up against things, but they've let them back in. And now only winning this quarter by just the 1 point.
Park Hae-jin over to Koo. Oh, that's nice for Korea right out of the timeout.
And again, it's what she's done every time. Every time there's been a break in play, it seems to get into her hands and she makes something happen.
She has 5 points now. Motohashi, I mean, there's no limit to the number of players from Japan that come out and hurt opponents.
And that makes it so difficult to build a defensive system to stop them, because you can get hurt from anywhere on the floor.
Koo spins. One shot now. And now Motokawa goes in and gets the foul called on Kim. So incredibly, as well as Korea have played in this quarter, if these 2 free throws go in, they will have lost ground.
And that's the bit that's really heartbreaking, because Korea must be like, yes, we've had a great second quarter, we had a shocker of a first, but we've really battled back into this. And they'll look at that and think, no matter how hard we've played in this second quarter, we've effectively not chipped away at that lead. We're still in the same position, if not worse than we were. And that's slightly demoralizing as a player, and as you know, the coaching staff will have to work to make sure, say, look, let's take every quarter, every play as it comes.
Koo again. Kong with the offensive rebound and putback. Motokawa to Nagaoka.
Someone's got to help her.
Now Koo brings it up. Kong, shot clock winding down, has to put up a tough shot, and she makes it.
And that really was a tough shot. So contested, and right at the end of the shot clock as well. But really needed as the time runs down on this first half.
Motohashi again! Unreal. Korea probably can't believe what they're seeing.
No, she's just an automatic now from outside. She's not even thinking about those shots.
Park Hae-jin drives in. Good play by her, but just missed the layup. Watch that, the difficulty on this shot.
Fading out of bounds onto your right hand. Wonderful. And then, as difficult as that shot was, then Motohashi comes down the other end and just makes the lead even bigger for Japan.
And that's how it finishes. In fact, it's still 19 points, what it was at the end of the first quarter. So Japan looking good best to make it straight to the semifinals. They lead it 45-26 over Korea at halftime.
And there's your shooting stats from the first half. Korea not shooting well from outside, only 15%. Japan not doing brilliantly from outside, but 57% from inside and twos, and 12 from 21 is what has caused the punishment against Korea. And the rebounding battle also being won by Japan. 11 offensive rebounds. The great thing for Korea is, though, they only gave up 1 offensive rebound in that second quarter. They gave up 10 in the first. So the changes they've made defensively have made a big, big impact. And if anything, that spurred their offensive threat. You know, able to score 21 in that second quarter when they only scored 5 in the first. But so much more for Korea to do. There's plenty of time for them to get back into this, but they're going to have to be near perfect in the second 20 minutes.
Well, 20 minutes still to go, as you say, and where there's hope, there's life, and that's how Korea will be looking at it. They're down 19 points at the break. We'll be right back before the start of the second half. Philippines played in fits and starts, although I guess you could also say the same about China, but they had more sustained excellence. Nevertheless, nice way to finish the game for Castillo. Bokusul with 8 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists for Korea. Doing her best to try to make this a game, but boy, are they facing a lot of problems against Japan, who got out to that 24-5 first quarter lead, and they have been tough. I think Korea got it back to within 12 points, and Japan just started making play after play and opened that lead back up to 45-26 at halftime. Maki Takada, among the many great performers for Japan tonight, with 11 points, 6 rebounds, a couple of assists, and you know, it's Japan looking like the type of team that can win a 4th consecutive FIBA Women's Asian Cup tonight.
And the thing you've got is, we spoke about it before the game, you had the feeling that Japan wanted to come out and get this game done with. You know, they didn't want to leave it to potentially a last-minute winner. They wanted to make sure that they secured the win as early as they possibly could. And it's now for Korea to make a game of it. Can they give everything they can and have a near-perfect 20 minutes of basketball?
Well, we should get an indication here right at the start of the second half if Korea are going to be able to make any inroads. And the one thing I would say about Japan, especially the way they've looked tonight, they have looked ruthless, and it's going to be anything but easy for Korea to pip them to that first place. Remember, it's a battle of 2-0 teams tonight, and the winner goes straight to the semifinals of the FIBA Women's Asia Cup. And those little fans there will know that the loser has to go into the qualification for the semifinals. So,
and it won't be an easy game, that qualification. They'll be taking on New Zealand in that qualification game. You know, it's not only do you not get your day's rest, but you're going to go into another physical battle against a team that is on the up, because New Zealand seem to be getting better day after day.
They did indeed. They were winners today over the Philippines. Okay, second half action underway here in Bengaluru, India. It's Japan on top and looking to deliver the knockout punch here in the third quarter. Miyazawa starts things off, and more of the same for the Japanese as they have their biggest lead of the game.
And you asked who's going to signal first their intention. I think the Japanese have just done that. The thing for Japan, realistically,
well, Miyazawa,
even if they can hold this lead for the quarter, I think it's going to be a stretch too far. 19 points for Korea to make up in a quarter is going to be probably too much to ask of them. So it's not even like, you know, Japan need to extend their lead massively. They just need to maintain.
The one change in the lineup here for Korea. There's Park in the paint, and it's Sim, number 5, so keep an eye on her, the little point guard. Here she is against Rui Machida. Machida, though, blows by her and earns a trip to the free throw line.
And Machida's been really impressive tonight, probably her best game of the tournament so far. She's only averaged 2.5 points, 3 rebounds, but it's the 6 assists prior to tonight's game that have been really impressive.
A rare miss, perhaps. So, but at 48-26, Japan right now looking, well, maybe the tide will turn after those 2 free throw misses. Bay gets the long rebound. Sim, now Bay. Good footwork and good finish from Bay, the veteran. And She might have tied her up there, but Koo called for the foul.
Bae's certainly one of the Korean players that's impressed in this tournament. She seems to really have come to the front for Korea.
And good deny from Bae. Bae again, tough shot. I tell you what, Takashiki was there, but she was able to stretch her right arm out, fully extend it.
Yeah, I think this is probably the biggest challenge Takashiki's had so far in this tournament. Someone that's really matching up well with her.
Mashida open. How many three-pointers are they going to hit tonight that just kill rallies? Hey, catches it, and Takada is called for a foul.
Yeah, I think that's a tough call, but Bae's done everything she can to draw that foul as well. I'm loving just the arm movement and managing to swing it round and get some elbow. And here's the work on the defensive end from Bae as well. She's making sure that she's working both ends of the floor.
Bae's performance has come out here in the second half and given Korea a lift. You just have to play the whole 20 minutes of the second half, and you know, I mean, we did see them pull to within 12.
And that's the key. They need to make sure that they put that 20 minutes in. They don't give up for a second. They play every possession as hard as they possibly can, and you don't know, maybe they can fight their way back into this.
So many Japanese players, just good hands by Bae, just put pressure on the defense. It's incredible. All the movement, the cuts to the basket, and then when you seal off the lanes, they hit three-pointers. Here's Akaho for three and fouled while shooting the three by Jin, and that's the type of pressure that Korea are under right now. They know that they have to guard their shooters.
Yeah, and I understand the frustration from Jin. She had a big game yesterday. She struggled to get into the game today, and sometimes you almost put a little bit too much effort in when things aren't going your way, and that's a tough foul to watch, particularly if you're coach Lee Mon-kyu.
Japan are missing free throws, which may not seem like a big deal leading by 20, but they're able to pad that lead, and they're not. Next to second. But every little bit helps, you know, when you're playing against a team like Korea, which has the ability to get hot from three-point range.
Yeah, and they're going to need to if they're going to fight their way back into this one. 6.5 to go in the third, and Japan in full control.
Koo to Bae. And Sim misses it from deep. Back to the Japanese, and Lee Mon-kyu just looks out there, kind of trying, you know, it's not like he hasn't tried different things tonight. Kaho just had a layup. That is a worrying sign for Korea to have any hope of getting back into the game. You can't give up an uncontested layup right down the middle of the lane.
No, you really can't. That needs to be where you set your stall out, that you're going to say, well, every point you score from now on is going to be a tough point. You're going to have to work hard for it, and that certainly wasn't that. Just interesting standing here looking with almost Korean eyes to say, well, what's the weakness in Japan? And there just isn't one. That's the problem you've got. And I imagine Coach Lee Mon-kyu and his coaching staff are doing exactly the same. What's the loose bit that we can pick at and try and find some win behind? And, you know, you look through all 5 players on the floor now, or anyone they rotate in, and it's tough to say where the weakness is. You know, their bigs can come out and defend the perimeter. You can potentially get some mismatches. Machida's undersized. If you can get a mismatch against her in the low post, you might be able to work something. But it really is a very impressive Japanese team. You can see why they're one of the pre-tournament favourites to make it all the way to the final.
Well, they also looked like she took a shot to the face. She was checking to see if she had any blood. You got to be tough if you play that position, especially the way that Bay plays. Sim drives in, swatted, but Rui Machida called for the foul.
Yeah, and for Bay, especially as she's usually undersized against everyone she's guarding, she has to play with a lot of physicality.
You can see why Rui Machida gave that look. It wasn't too much wrong with that defense. You almost wonder in his own mind if he's thinking ahead now, if he thinks this is a lost cause, because Japan just have not shown any signs of caving in.
Yeah, no, for me, as a coach, you don't want to pull the ripcord on the emergency shoot just yet. But there will be a point, I imagine, if it carries on like this, a third of the way into the final quarter, maybe he'll start saying, well, okay, it's time to rest players, it's time to rotate through, let's make sure we don't get any silly injuries. Because ultimately they're going to have if they do end up losing this game, they're going to have a huge game tomorrow against New Zealand where, it's one and done. That's where we are now after today. It's one and done. You lose the game, the tournament's over.
Finally, another drive. This time Miyazawa showing her good moves inside. We've seen her do the damage outside, and Park Ji-hun commits the foul. So Japan have added to their halftime lead. They are just in complete control right now against Korea. Timeout.
서서 못 가게 해야 될 거 아니냐고. 알아들어? 지금 매번 얘기하잖아. 그리고 민정아,
네.
너 이거 붙어 있으면 안 돼. 이렇게 스크린 가는데 여기 붙어 있으면 우리 편을 너가 건다 그랬지. 떨어져서 이 사람이 지나가게 하든지 뭘 하게 하라 그랬잖아. 이 사람을 여기 있다고 여기 붙어 있으면 얘가 뒤로 이렇게 하고 뒤쫓아오고 있잖아. 그래서 내 없이 주는 거 아니야. 너 뭐 하냐고 이거.
네.
스위치를 하든지. 그리고 너는 안으로 들어가야지. 뒤쫓아오면 안 된다는 거야.
네.
왜 생각 없이 수비를 해? 이 사람이 이렇게 가고자 하면 못 가게 해야 될 거 아니야.
like you say, it's the purpose of this game will gradually change for the Korean coaching staff from trying to get the win and top the group to maybe working on a few things that they want to take into their next classification game, or resting players, giving minutes to other players, you know, running different lineups and stuff like that. But for me, I still think you're probably going to give it maybe another 7-8 minutes of full effort to see if you can find a way back into this one, because, you know, we saw yesterday Chinese Taipei were able to lock down Japan and limit their scoring to single digits in a quarter, and if Korea can do that, then there is hope for them to sneak what would be a big upset.
Kong comes out and hits a three-pointer, so that's a good sign for Korea. Kaho, oh, that was way too easy for her. She went around Park Ji-hun. Rough shot, and that's not going to get it done for Korea. Now Motohashi, who really threw in some three-point daggers in the first half, is fouled by Sin out on the perimeter. And, you know, as Japan keep this pressure on, up 63-35, I mean, you know, 28 points is the lead now. You have to wonder about the coach, and he's thinking about, okay, maybe this just isn't going to happen tonight, and we're going to have a big game tomorrow. We won't have as much rest as New Zealand. New Zealand will have the luxury of scouting us. Is it a good idea, perhaps, to maybe pull some of the senior starters?
Yeah, potentially, but you don't want to enter that New Zealand game on a real low after, you know, what could turn into a 50-point loss to Japan. That would psychologically put you on a real low, even if it's your bench players that have kind of let the lead slip.
You think it would do irreparable damage?
I don't know if it's irreparable, but it's going to affect your mindset. The moment you feel Korea have a bit of confidence about themselves, have a bit of belief that they can make something happen.
Three-pointer, another one for Motohashi. She's been unreal tonight.
Yeah, just absolute phenomenal form from outside. That's 4 from 5 now for her, and when you leave her wide open, she's going to drain the three.
Raise attempt from the baseline, stays out. Japan 8 of 21 as a team from three-point range. Now Takada.
Seeing the same thing will be going through Coach Hovas's mind as well. You know, when do I pull the plug on this? When do I say enough's enough? I think we've definitely got the win, and start resting the likes of Tokashiki and Takada and you know, Motohashi.
Up the dump, and no look, and Takada there for the rebound, and Motohashi with the finish. So 33 points. I mean, I mean, you just have to tip your hat to Japan, because I honestly thought we were going to have a much more competitive game tonight. But Japan have just come out and imposed their will on this Korean team for the for the entire.
Promise, but oh my goodness me.
You know, my advice to her and to Japan maybe is maybe save some of those. You might need some of those in your next game.
My advice to her is go and buy a lottery ticket. Everything's going her way tonight. Her luck's in. Just, yeah, go and buy yourself a lottery ticket.
Nako Motohashi, 5 of 6 from three-point range, 18 points. Bay goes in with the layup. Gosh, no, 71-39. Japan are just cruising. Takashiki.
Yeah, I'm presuming Coach Hovas will make wholesale changes and probably go a lot further down the bench in this final quarter. It's not just a rest situation as well. You now have that worry of potential injury. How, you know, devastating would it be for one of your key players to pick up an injury when you're this far ahead in a game, you know, and you pretty much sealed that win. And it's all about rotation now for both these teams and how they use it to their advantage for their games for obviously Korea tomorrow. And then for Japan when they face the semi-final.
Takashiki keeps pouring it on for Japan. Bay takes the rest for Korea. Yeah, and you wonder how other teams will view this performance from Japan. I don't think either Australia or China, for example, who played in a thriller before this, would be intimidated at all by Japan. They would expect to go up and beat them. But those are two teams that have beaten Japan over the years. China beat Japan 87-81 in the qualification to the quarterfinals at the FIBA Basketball World Cup. That was, you know, as recent as September 26th.
The great thing I think you've got is Japan don't think anyone can beat them, and I don't think China now believe that anyone can beat them. And it's great to have teams in a tournament that have that mindset that they are, you know, we are number one. We are absolutely favourites for the gold medal. And then you've got Australia, who obviously have now a massive point to prove.
Kahu drives in, another 2 for her. Buries the 3.
And Kang's done well again tonight. She's up to 12 points, 4 rebounds. She's showing some of the form that Korea will need her to show going forward.
Here's Akaho again, getting it down low. (75-42), Japan in command. Those are the third numbers through 3 quarters.
And Korea have tried everything they can. They've thrown everything they can at Japan. But Japan in that third quarter were just, you know, deadly offensively. 30 points they poured in that third quarter. Korea only managing 16. And that's really blown the game. Probably a little bit too far open now. And it'll be interesting to see what both coaching teams, as we look at the Japanese 5 coming back on the floor. Looks like they're going to run a fair bit of the bench. They're going to get some good minutes in this final quarter, resting some of the more established superstars in the Japanese team, but also giving some more experience to some of the younger stars or the stars that might be needed later on in the tournament. For Korea, they still come out with a pretty strong 5. They're not rotating too heavily yet. I imagine they will do as this quarter progresses further. And their attention, I imagine, starts turning quickly to their last chance saloon game tomorrow against New Zealand as they look to try to stay in the Asia Cup and get to the semi-finals.
So 75-42, Japan on top of Korea, fourth quarter underway here in their FIBA Women's Asia Cup Group A game. Sin puts it on the deck. Wow, what a finish.
A real tough shot. Huge amount of contact, but she manages to stay with the play.
Evelyn Mauli comes in. You know you're good. You know you got good players 1 through 12 when you got players like Evelyn Mauli coming in this late in the game. I mean, she's a good player.
A very good player. I can't imagine many teams in this tournament that wouldn't, you know, she wouldn't be sitting very close to their starting five.
Bounce pass to Jim. And then we'll go to the free throw line. So that foul called on Tamami Nakata. Trying to make the entry pass. Motohashi to Nagaoka.
Interesting that Bay's in the game. I thought that would have been one of the players that Korea would rest. She's been so influential and will be so important when she goes up against some of the bigs for New Zealand tomorrow.
Motohashi, wow. If that had gone in, I think I just would have gotten up and gone over. Good hustle. I mean, and here's the thing about Japan. They're cruising. Look at this.
And that's
they're on
something
top, and it's the effort. The effort doesn't drop, does it? Ever.
I don't think they have a cruise gear. And particularly when they rotate in players lower down the bench, they come in as if it's the start of the game. They come in with all this energy and ready to go. And, you know, it's a nice headache for Coach Hovas to have, that you've got so many players that know your system, that run it hard, that give everything they've got. And ultimately, even when you're getting down the bench on the Japanese side, an absolute ton of talent.
Back in, trying to, well, they're just trying to salvage their pride right now, aren't they? Just want to get the feel-good factor back.
And that's the one thing you're going to have from Korea. They're not going to give up. They're not going to bow down. You're not going to see their heads drop. They're just going to keep battling no matter what the scoreline is. And that's a real credit to them. And that's part of why they're one of the better teams here at the Asia Cup.
Three Korean players boxing out, and the ball goes to Mauli, and it's not surprising. It lands with Motokawa, and she hits a three.
Yeah, 10 for 25 now from outside for Japan. They've just been absolutely lethal from outside.
Another three-pointer. And a foul, I think, called off the ball. Just like a Groundhog Day nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is. It's getting to the stage where Korea would just like this final buzzer to ring out, I think. Things just aren't going their way, but you have to be so impressed with this Japanese team. The reason they're shooting such high percentages from outside is because their offense is working so well that they're creating open perimeter shots. Korea are playing pretty good defense. It's just really down to how impressive the fluidity of this Japanese offense is. They just move the ball in themselves constantly. They don't stay still and the ball keeps moving.
Well, they're 11 of 27 from three-point range. They've shot 50% overall from the floor, 28 of 56. They have completely dominated on the glass, 44 to 28. There's not much not to like about this. Now, Kim, who fouled out yesterday after playing just 4 minutes, comes into the game
just under 5.
And she just encounters immediately how tough that Japanese defense is.
But the thing you've got, this is perfect. You know, this is what this time is for both these teams now. You know, ultimately, Kim is only going to get better and more accustomed to this level of basketball the more she plays it.
Oh, nice reverse. Nagaoka.
The Japanese bench all on their feet, showing appreciation for the pass as much as the basket, but just, yeah, more examples of exactly why Japan are looking to win their 4th in a row Asia Cup and make history.
Kong's pass batted out of bounds by Motokawa. Look at that bounce pass and the finish. I guess Tom Hovassa's rule is you play well, you play hard whenever you're on the court. Nothing else will be tolerated, because that's the way it seems Japan go at it. They don't seem to have bad plays.
No, not at all.
Nagaoka steps back. Motohashi out here working hard. Little pause. Nice play by Kim, but then pulls up her dribble. And the other thing about Japan is it seems like Motohashi is maybe not the biggest player on the court, but she can play against bigger players. Nagaoka scores, and they continue to pour it on.
And I like what Nagaoka's doing. She's come on the floor and she's taken on the mantle of that kind of focal big player in the 5 on the floor, and the intensity level and the creativity and the talent just doesn't seem to drop off.
Kim turns and scores.
And that'll be a relief for her.
But look at who's racing down the floor. Motohashi. And she bangs into the advertising hoarding, but she gets up and runs back down with a smile on her face. And Kim, hey, how about that? 2 in a row for Kim.
Yeah, nice little pick and roll action with Kang. And this is the thing, Korea still have 5 minutes to take some positives out of this game, find some combinations, some little, 2-man game that they had there.
Motohashi, what is that?
That is 6 from 8.
6 from 8 now, wow.
This is certainly going in our personal all-career highlight reel, that's for sure. Yeah, Motohashi now up to 21 points, 6 from 8. She's only 1 from 3 inside the arc, so if I was her, I'd just keep shooting from outside. Seems to be the right plan for her today.
So we'll go down to the bench and listen in.
もうチャンスあればもう当たり前うちのペース向かいに行っていい、okay? スコア関係ない、okay? でディフェンス相手もうちのプレー分かってるからうちのディフェンス分かってるから結構長い間にポイントガードがボールもでも我慢しているビッグマンちょっと我慢して
우리가 지금 해야 될 문제는 수비를 적극적으로 하고 그다음에
What are you thinking right now if you are New Zealand
알았지?
watching Korea get thumped by Japan and thinking how you might be able to exploit them? You see Motohashi, she actually did slam into the little advertisement hoarding, I'm not sure what you call.
She looks like she's in a huge amount of pain there as well. That will be a real concern as they try and get rid of the TV camera, understandably so. But yeah, important for us to know that she's going to be okay. She's still sitting on the bottom of the bench getting treatment. But yeah, if I'm New Zealand now, as much as I've seen Korea being pulled apart by Japan, I've also seen moments of Korea being unbelievably effective at what they do, and it's actually a game I'm really looking forward to. I think that Korea-New Zealand game could be a very, very close game.
Well, that is definitely one, you know, we talk about when do you take players out, but the thing is she's a backup guard, and when you play as hard as you play, when you wear the Japanese jersey, you're going to slam into the advertising.
Yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. The only thing you've got is they could have bring Watanabe in. She hasn't played any minutes tonight. I presume there's some kind of complication with her, maybe a slight niggly injury that they're not playing her any minutes at all, but they now have problems. Because if Motohashi has done some significant damage to herself, slamming into those advertising boards, and Watanabe's got some form of injury that's impeding her, who's next up?
Well, Watanabe's in now.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing that she's okay. And
but they only played her 6 minutes yesterday as well.
But the good thing is they would have a day off. So hopefully she's okay. But yeah, it looks like she took a knock.
The thing is, you hope it sounds crazy, you hope it's just an external injury. It's a bruising or something along those lines because you can get on with it. The worst thing is if she's jarred something or caused some kind of joint injury or, you know, damaged her back at all. That will be the big concern. If it's just a bit of bruising, these athletes will put up with bruising all day long.
Well, here comes Watanabe. Awuli, Khan, Hassan. And look at how tenacious Watanabe is up against Kim. Coming off the bench.
Completely cold coming off the bench as well.
Awuli goes up.
Wow.
Takes the punishment and makes the shot. Japan might get 100 points tonight.
They might. They might. They're, the way they're playing offensively, you really wouldn't put it past them. And Mawuli there, the lucky recipient of a wonderful pass from Watanabe. And the thing you've got is Watanabe's been on the bench for the entire game. She comes in completely cold and she's ready to go. Defensive, offensive, she's flat out ready to play basketball. And that's a dream for a coach.
Jihan brings it up. It would be interesting, though. I'm sure this has been done, like a documentary or something. Somebody should follow the Japan national team and how they've done this, really.
That'd be very interesting, that's for sure.
Look at, because they just do not stop. And, you know, there are a lot of players trying to get into this national team. And, you know, there's the additional incentive. Oh, Kim scores again. There's the additional incentive, obviously, next year of getting to the Olympics that they're going to be hosting. But look, another layup.
The thing you've got off the back of this, if you can get this Japanese team to play this well at the Olympics is all about legacy. That's the word that everyone uses. Imagine the inspiration this Japanese team are going to give to all the young Japanese girls to take up basketball. You know, they could potentially have massive upsets against big teams in that tournament, and that's where the real inspiration comes from.
Well, don't look now, but Kim has 8 points
But I'm just glad she's got more points than fouls.
I mean, she fouled out yesterday and looked like you felt really bad for her because it was one of those moments where she didn't play all game, and then she came in just to finish up, and she couldn't even stay on the court. And now she's come out, and she can't do anything wrong.
She's made it. That was Tanabe again, just drains a three, and the Japanese scoring from outside carries on. But yeah, she can't do no wrong now, Kim, though. She's played really well.
Watanabe, she says, I'm just going to take it all the way. Watanabe, 99-57.
And you have to remember, Korea are also an unbeaten team. This isn't like Japan are playing one of the lower level teams in their group. Korea are 2-0 as well, and they have been fully schooled here today. Wonderful play. Watanabe, she's called upon because of the injury to Motohashi, but she more than steps up to the call. Got an assist to her name, got points to her name, some tough defense, great effort.
여기서 그냥 이쪽으로 가서 이볼 볼을 주잖아 지금. 무슨 얘기인지 알겠니? 네. 어? 들어가. 연야. 들어와서 스크린하고. 어? 이렇게 갔어.
Those 12 points, but really stats like this for Korea are just kind of insignificant. Perhaps with the exception of Kim coming off the bench and getting the 8 points because of her struggles yesterday. But here's, I think is this Motohashi? Yeah, this is Motohashi. She looks okay now. Thankfully, our cameraman has been allowed to come over. Hey, look at the Japanese fans. Another night of cheering for them. They've had a good night here in Bengaluru.
Yeah, and behind India, the home team, they're by far and away the most supported team at the tournament.
Well, that's what happens when you get the three-time defending champions.
Yeah, success certainly breeds success, and their fan base is growing off the back of it. Although tonight's game's not going to harm that.
Where's our flag-waving Japanese fan?
I don't know, he wasn't here yesterday either. I was quite disappointed. He really lightened up things on that first game day.
Maybe they took care of him. Here's Sim. Korea just look out of sync.
Yeah, they do.
I still think they might be favorites. They would still be favorites, in fact, as the second seed against New Zealand. But New Zealand
are getting better each game.
They should be able to draw some encouragement from this if they can rebound New Zealand.
I'm looking forward to that game. I think that's going to be a real tough game and a real battle as well. I think that might get quite physical as well.
What you worry about for New Zealand is if this Korea team gets hot.
Yes.
Which it has not really happened yet.
Yeah, New Zealand need it to be a low-scoring game. They don't want to get into a shootout.
Kim's got 10 points.
10 points now.
She's showing us why she's in the national team.
Absolutely. Only 6.5 minutes and she's up to 10 points.
And if she scores again, she will be the equal high in the team. Seriously. So it's good that she's been able to put the disappointment of last night behind her.
It's absolutely great. Wonderful.
And she doesn't seem phased to the fact that they're getting beat as badly as they are. She's just getting after it.
And that's the thing. If you're sitting on the bench like Kim has been for the tournament so far, you've got to grab your minutes. You've got to grab your minutes and do everything you can with them.
Oh, cool. Here she is. Oh, she catches it. And yes, she does. She's got 12 points. And maybe, just maybe, she is a player that can help them. I don't think she's the quickest player.
But I think against New Zealand, that's not necessarily going to be a concern. I think her strength will really help out Korea in the game tomorrow. It'd just be interesting to see if she does come in a little bit earlier and features in the main rotation.
Nagaoka and Japan surpassed the 100-point mark. Tom Hovass looked up at the scoreboard. It was unmistakable.
45% from the perimeter now for Japan. They've just been absolutely flying from outside.
And the final seconds tick off the clock. And that's it, folks. So just a resounding victory for Japan, one in which they have underlined their status perhaps as the team to beat yet again at this FIBA Women's Asia Cup. They left no doubt about it tonight. They did it. It was effectively, essentially, a first quarter knockout. Korea did make a little run the second quarter, but then Japan got to grips with them again, and they just blew them out. 102-61. They go to the semifinals directly. Korea have to go to the qualification for the semifinals. Well, we have a lot of flag waving Japanese here tonight, just smaller flags, not like the big flag that we saw the other day.
As they take their bow to the crowd, and there are quite a few Japanese fans in the crowd, and it's great to see. Here your shooting stats from the game, and 45% from outside, 58% from inside. Just absolutely unbelievable performance from Japan. You know, Korea won't be unhappy with a 42% from inside, but again, perimeter shooting lets them down, and more so the rebounding battle lets them down as well, 47-35. Both teams playing great team offense, though, 30 and 21 on the assists for Japan and Korea, respectively. Also looking after the ball really well, 7 turnovers for Japan, 9 for Korea. But poles apart on the scoreboard, and Japan just put a full basketball clinic on.
Yeah, Motohashi, the 21 points. You could argue that she was the player of the game. I mean, when she came in, it was already in hand, so but she was terrific. Both Kang and Kim had 12 points for Korea. So all smiles for the Japanese.
Motohashi's walking very gingerly, though, as she comes past us. She doesn't look too comfortable. Big smile on her face, but after that injury, as she crashed into the ad boards, she doesn't look too comfortable.
Looks like she's maybe injured her back.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience, that's lower back.
Lower back.
That is full lower back. Yeah, you walk like you've had an accident in the toilet department. That's what you walk like. You walk really gingerly and delicately, because any slight movement tweak the nerve, and it's absolute agony. Yeah, I can talk from experience on that one. She walks exactly like I do.
She did get up and run back down the court, but grimaced as she did so. So that's the big question about Japan. But they do have that next woman up philosophy or approach in Japan. Yeah. Just like they don't have Manami Fujioka this year because of I think it's an ankle injury. So they've got other players that step up.
Well, you saw it in this game. Watanabe came into the game, 5 points, 3 assists in 4.5 minutes. You know, there is no downgrade for these teams. They have quality all the way through 1 through 12. In Japan, you know what? It's hard to look past Japan. China played well earlier. Definitely Australia are going to be up there. But I don't know. At the moment, I'm still feeling Japan might be slight favourites to take a record-breaking 4th in a row Asia Cup.
Well, it is the way they basically impose their will on teams, and when teams like Korea are able to rouse themselves and come out and play with some determination and a conviction, Japan bend, but they don't seem to break. So I don't think they are unbeatable, clearly. And, you know, we've seen a lot of spirit and a lot of quality in the games of both Australia, especially in China. So we will have to wait. We will have to wait and see how it goes. You know, but Japan certainly right now look like they're the team to beat.
Yeah, they do. They do. They seem to be flying. They're the ones that really haven't had many stumbles. They had a bad quarter against Chinese Taipei, as we see Watanabe with a little stutter step. She goes to the basket. But pretty much they've put together quarter after quarter of great basketball. They really have.
So here's what we've seen today. New Zealand winning, China winning the thriller over Australia, and Japan winning in a romp. There's one more to go. It'll be a game between Chinese Taipei and India in a battle of 0-2 teams. The winner goes to the qualification for the semifinals. So Japan finished top of Group A at 3-0. Korea are second at 2-1. They will go to the qualification for the quarterfinals. One more to go. Thanks for watching, folks. We'll be right back.